Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and I'm going to continue my series of magic moments in a little bit of a weird way. Normally we watch sick plays or at least videos of Magic the Gathering moments, but there's no video of the moment I wanted to talk to you about today. This moment occurred between two players, Craig Wescoe and Drew Levin. They were in a win-in for the 2010s Grand Prix Columbus. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that this can possibly lead to some controversy, and I'm going to describe the situation to you, and then I want to know if you agree with what happened, with what Wescoe did, with the judge's call, and things like that. Long story short, Levin won the match, and then he made a joke that he made a substantial wager on the outcome of the match. Now, technically, this is a violation of Rule 5.3 of Magic Tournament Rules, which states tournament participants, tournament officials, and spectators may not wager, ante, or bet any portion, including the outcome of a tournament match or game. So when Craig Wescoe heard his opponent say that, he called a judge, there was an investigation, and about an hour later, Drew Levin was disqualified. Now, the player base as a whole didn't really like this decision and kind of turned on Wescoe, which eventually led to Craig Wescoe losing some fans in the player base and issuing an apology, which I will read to you now. This past weekend at Grand Prix Columbus, in the final round of Swiss, I was paired against Drew Levin, and we were playing for top 8. He won the match, and then afterwards made a comment in front of a crowd of spectators about having made a substantial wager on the outcome of the match. I interpreted the statement as a brag directed at me, and I was unclear what my obligations were as a player in that situation. According to Rule 5.3 in the Magic the Gathering Tournament Rules, wagering on the outcome of a match is strictly prohibited and is harshly enforced. Moreover, according to Rule 1.10, players are responsible for bringing to a judge's attention any rules or policy infractions they notice in their matches. Players who fail to do so can face harsh penalties depending on the circumstances. I felt this placed an immediate time constraint on my decision, so I acted hastily in the first evaluation of the situation. Given the perceived severity of the claim made, I reported what I heard to a judge in order to avoid breaking Rule 1.10. After speaking to a number of players and judges, I am now of the opinion that my course of action was unwarranted and based on a misunderstanding of the rules. Once a match is over, which ours was, each player immediately becomes a spectator, and while players are obligated to report such infractions to a judge, at the risk of incurring penalties, spectators are merely encouraged to do so and cannot be subject to penalties for staying silent. In hindsight, I should have privately asked a judge to clarify what exactly my obligations were before reporting the incident. This likely would have averted the entire situation. In large part due to my report, Drew Levin was disqualified from the event without prize. I regret this outcome, and for this I sincerely apologize to Drew and the entire Magic community. This does not excuse Drew's comment, which, whether true or untrue, is a clear violation of the tournament rules and should never have been said. Nonetheless, in my haste, I exerted poor judgment and should be held to a higher standard as a professional member of the community. It is not my obligation to police the community for rules infractions or to get players disqualified from tournaments. Hopefully, others will understand this is a momentary lapse in judgment based on a misunderstanding of my obligations and is not indicative of my character. In the future, I would take greater care to exercise better judgment, which confronted with these types of circumstances. Again, I apologize to Drew and everybody else. Sincerely, Craig Wescoe. And so this is where this video is going to shift from an explanation of the situation to sort of my opinion. And I want to know what your opinion is as well. I personally feel that if there are Magic rules, everybody should have to follow them, no matter what the rules are. And that's especially important in games that are not like video games where the system follows the rules for you. You have to make sure you follow the rules, especially in physical games. And even though in this situation, Craig Wescoe was not obligated to report, I agree with his split-second decision that he should report that because it is a rule that everybody has to follow. And if certain people don't have to follow it because they're really good at keeping it secret, or it's an unspoken rule that you don't tell on them, then that's not a community I would like to live in. And so I actually end up disagreeing with Craig Wescoe's apology. And now I understand it was done in no small thing to kind of save face in the community and to explain a lapse in judgment. I think rules infractions should always be reported. And I think it is everybody's responsibility at a Magic tournament, especially if you're playing in a tournament, to police those rules. I think this is the same thing as me walking by a match, seeing an illegal rules interaction, stopping the match and calling the judge like you're encouraged to do. But maybe I'm just being a cop here. I don't know. I just don't like people being held to different standards or not being able to follow the rules, no matter what the rules are, just because they could keep it secret or make sure people don't tell. That feels weird to me. Don't bet on games of Magic, at least at tournaments. And let me know what you think in the comments. Am I totally off base? I don't know. But if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.